At 5 months pregnant, Daniel's first love, Ava, came to our home to provoke me and set it on fire. I didn't contact my husband, Daniel. Instead, I covered my nose and mouth with a damp cloth and silently waited for rescue. In my previous life, during the first moments of the fire, I had called him, begging him to take me to the hospital for emergency care. In the end, the baby was saved, but Ava, one of his colleagues, died in the fire that day. Ava told me with his dying breath that he didn't blame me and urged me to rest well and focus on my pregnancy. He even took time off work to care for me. But on the day I gave birth, Daniel took a knife and slit my child's throat before my very eyes. Then he burned me and my baby alive. In my final moments, through the blazing flames, I saw his twisted, menacing expression. If it weren't for you deliberately starting the fire, Ava wouldn't have died. Do you think pretending to be a victim will fool me? Dream on. You'll pay for her life with yours. You like setting fires, don't you? Let me show you what it feels like. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the scene of the fire. Thick smoke filled my nose, choking me into a violent cough. The pain jolted me out of the memories of my past life. This time, I didn't call my husband Daniel, who was a rescue team leader. Instead, I dialed the public emergency line. When the rescue team arrived, I saw Daniel's familiar figure from a distance. Only after he carried Ava out of the fire did I finally let myself cry out for help. The team thought I was making trouble. They scolded me with cold expressions until a decoration on the wall collapsed, striking my abdomen. Blood spurted from my mouth as I fell, but they ignored me. I gritted my teeth against the pain and used all my strength to crawl out of the fire. Yet, when the rescue equipment arrived, it was used solely on Ava. Daniel didn't even glance at me, only chastising me for bringing this upon myself. The intense pain caused cold sweat to pour down my body, and I could feel the baby's life slipping away. In my previous life, both Ava and I had called Daniel simultaneously during the fire. Daniel chose to save me first for the sake of the baby, but by the time he returned to rescue Ava, the fire was out of control, leaving no way in. Ava perished in the flames, leaving nothing behind. Daniel had said it was fine and even comforted me, urging me not to blame myself. He took time off work to support me during my pregnancy, but the day I gave birth, he took me and the baby to Ava's grave. There, he slit the baby's throat and drenched himself in its blood. His eyes were filled with madness. Do you know what it's like to be burned alive? I'll make you pay 100-fold for the pain Ava endured. True to his word, he burned me and the baby alive. This time, Reborn. I only wanted to escape him, but even now, he wouldn't spare me. Not even emergency cooling equipment was allocated for me. Blood poured from my body as I let out a final hoarse scream for help. Save my baby, please. Finally, one of the rescue team members noticed me and turned around, but his eyes were full of disdain and mockery. He nudged me with his foot. Cut the act. Everyone in the team knows you despised Ava. I can't believe you'd go this far. Setting a fire while pregnant. The boss has already gone to save someone else. Nobody's buying your performance. Honestly, I almost admire your dedication. Too bad the boss only has eyes for Ava. You'd better pray nothing happens to her. Otherwise, don't be surprised if the boss divorces you on the spot. I knew Daniel didn't love me, but I never expected even his teammates to treat me this way. The excruciating contractions silenced me, and my skin burned under the intense heat. Peeling away, no one in the team checked on me. They were all focused on putting out the fire. Amid the haze, I faintly heard someone cry out, "Oh no, why is there so much blood on the ground? Something's really wrong. Did she actually get hurt?" When someone finally turned toward me, their voice was filled with annoyance. What could really be wrong? She just wants the boss to look at her. She's been at it all day. Fine. You go call the boss over and see what happens. But I didn't get Daniel's concern. Instead, I got his icy anger. His gloved hand slapped me across the face. Twice. With unrestrained force. "Emily, wake up. What's this act for? I'm here. Has your brain been eaten by a dog? You set the fire yourself and ended up burning yourself this badly. How does it feel to shoot yourself in the foot?" Even now, he thought I was the one who started the fire. He thought I was jealous, putting on a show to get his attention. I wanted to explain, but my throat was so dry I couldn't speak. My stomach was racked with unbearable pain, and I could only reach out to grab his sleeve, silently begging for help. He hesitated for 2 seconds, then pressed hard against my abdomen. "You're quite the actress. If Ava hadn't told me you set the fire and ran off, I might have actually believed you," leaving those words behind. He turned and walked away without a second thought. The next moment, I heard a team member exclaim, "Boss, your shoes. There's blood. Is she having a miscarriage?" Another replied dismissively, "Ignore it. Didn't he already say it's just to scare us? She's 5 months along. It's not that easy to lose a baby. She's a bother. Just let her act." The excruciating pain overwhelmed me, and my vision went black as I completely lost consciousness. In my dream, I seemed to return to the moment I first met Daniel. It was during a university seminar. He stood on stage, his expression cold as ice. His unmatched expertise and skill captured the hearts of many women, including mine. I fell for him at first sight and began asking around to learn everything about him. At the time, I was an intern lecturer at the university, someone he didn't even notice. To get his attention, I worked harder and harder. After I got a permanent position, I invited him to dinner under the guise of expressing gratitude. I noticed a subtle change in the way he looked at me and seized the opportunity to pursue him aggressively. Flowers, basketball tickets, cakes, coffee. If it could be a gift, I never hesitated. Finally, my efforts paid off. He accepted my confession. I thought this was the beginning of happiness, but it turned out to be the start of my nightmare. After we got together, he grew colder and more distant. Every date was interrupted by work emergencies or sudden rescue missions. I never doubted him, until the day of our wedding. An email from overseas shattered my dream entirely. The email was from Ava, detailing their 10 years together. Every memory, every second, was a knife to my heart. All the time he had stood me up, he'd been with her. The most pathetic part? I didn't even have the courage to confront him. I was terrified he'd leave me. In my previous life, when Ava died in the fire, Daniel's calmness made me think I was the winner in this love triangle. He emptied every baby store in the city to prepare for our child, showering me with sudden affection that made me dizzy with hope. But when he killed me and my baby after I gave birth, I finally understood. He didn't love me. He was using me as a tool for revenge against Ava's death. From start to finish, his heart only belonged to Ava. When I woke up, I was already in a hospital bed. The faces around me were unfamiliar. A man, probably in his 30s, spoke to me kindly. "You're awake. I'm your neighbor from downstairs. I just wanted to check on things. But when I got there, you were lying on the floor. I brought you to the hospital. How are you feeling?" I struggled to move my limbs and instinctively placed my hands on my abdomen, only to stop in shock. The man looked uncomfortable. "I'm sorry. The doctor said when you were brought in, your baby couldn't be saved." I forced a bitter smile and shook my head weakly. "It's not your fault. Thank you for bringing me here." Even a stranger could see something was wrong with me. Yet my husband of 5 years hadn't even looked in my direction. Seeing my despair, the man grew visibly upset. "I don't know what's wrong with those rescue guys. Someone lying there like that, and they don't help? If I hadn't gone to check on you, you'd be dead right now. Where's your family? Doesn't the baby's father care? Do you want me to call him for you? You shouldn't be alone right now. I've already reported that rescue team. People like them are a scourge on society." My neighbor said firmly. I nodded, trying to respond, but all I could manage was a faint whisper. "The baby's father is dead," I said weakly. Sympathy filled his expression. "Don't worry. I'll take care of you until you're discharged," he offered. I declined his kind gesture, transferred the hospital and surgery fees to him as thanks, and urged him to leave. Though he left, the storm of public outrage online was only growing. The story of the rescue team captain whose backyard caught fire had an inherent sensational appeal. By now, it had climbed to the top of trending topics on several major platforms. My neighbor, with good intentions, had uploaded a photo of me lying on the ground in the comments section. The image quickly sparked widespread discussion. Everyone was condemning the rescue team, questioning how they could focus solely on extinguishing fires while ignoring a pregnant woman and her unborn child. Some argued they shouldn't even be called a rescue team but merely a firefighting squad. I scrolled through the comments, finding some satisfaction in the backlash against Daniel. Yet, I still felt it wasn't enough of a punishment for him. Opening my chat app, I prepared to send him a message requesting a divorce. But a text from Ava popped up first. Turned out she was also in this hospital, staying just one floor below me. She had sent a photo of Daniel carefully feeding her porridge. In the image, he blew on each spoonful to cool it down, afraid it might burn her. Their intimacy was clear. I had seen enough of these pictures in the past to be numb to them. Without letting them affect me, I closed the chat app and dialed Daniel's number. It wasn't until the 5th call that he finally answered, his tone dripping with irritation. "What do you want now? Are you calling to ask if Ava is dead? Sorry to disappoint you. She's alive and well. Thanks to me. She's here in the hospital, recovering perfectly fine. Emily, I've known you for so long, but I never thought you'd stoop this low. Do you even know what you're doing? You're a murderer. Have you lost your mind? I'm giving you 1 hour. Come to her room and apologize to her. Or we're done. We'll divorce." Before I could respond, I heard Ava's feeble voice from his side. "Daniel, please don't blame her. It's all my fault. If she says I set the fire, just let her. Don't argue with her. Pregnant women shouldn't be upset." Daniel let out a long sigh. "You're too kind, Ava. That's why she walks all over you. We met first. Who does Emily think she is? She doesn't even have the right to lay a finger on you. This time, no matter what, I'll make sure she learns her lesson." As they continued their exchange, I cut in with a calm, steady voice. "All right, let's get divorced. I agree. I'll send you the papers. Make sure you sign them." Daniel was stunned. Clearly, he hadn't expected me to take the initiative. He froze for a moment, then exploded with anger. Just as he was about to lash out, I ended the call abruptly. Before I could block his number, messages began flooding in. "Where are you? Emily, are you insane today? I let things slide before because you were pregnant, but now you've gone too far. Do you think I wouldn't dare divorce you because of the baby? Don't push your luck. You'll regret it if I have to sign those papers on the day you give birth. And take down those online posts right now. Don't make me expose your true colors publicly." I didn't bother reading the rest. I deleted all the messages and blocked his number. Even though I had already endured his betrayal in my previous life, the pain in my chest flared up again, as sharp as ever. While I was lost in thought, a group of nurses came in to change my bandages. They didn't notice my expression as they chatted among themselves. "Did you see the guy downstairs? He's so handsome," one of them said. It was the first time I'd heard such admiration for a couple. One of the nurses sighed dreamily. "I've never seen a couple so well matched. I heard they were childhood sweethearts. A classic campus romance. So enviable." Another chimed in. "You're so out of the loop. Here's the latest. Mr. Carter went all out to secure a private station in the cafeteria, just so he could make fresh porridge for his beloved wife every day. He even forbade anyone else from touching her food. When I went to apply his bandages earlier, he wouldn't let me do it. He insisted on handling it himself. Talk about couple goals." Their chatter washed over me as I stared numbly at the needle marks on the back of my hand. The skin on my arm, already peeling from the burns, throbbed with a mix of pain and itching. When they finally left the room, I exhaled deeply, gasping for air as if I'd been suffocating. Yet no matter how much I tried to breathe, my chest remained tight and hollow. That evening, the doctor came by to check on me. He informed me, with a detached tone, that the severe trauma to my abdomen meant I was unlikely to have children in the future. My first reaction to his words was a twisted sense of relief. At least there won't be another child to suffer because of me. A child deserves a better start in life, not this endless misery. Once the room was empty again, I picked up my phone and checked the latest news online. The situation had spiraled out of control. The public backlash forced the rescue department's leadership to step forward with an explanation. But their statement turned everything on me, claiming the fire had been orchestrated by me as an act of jealousy and malice. They accused me of intentionally wasting rescue resources and tarnishing the reputation of their exemplary team captain. To make their claims more convincing, Daniel publicly registered an account and uploaded our marriage certificate. His actions completely turned the tide of public opinion against me. The outrage that had initially targeted the rescue team shifted entirely to me. My social media was flooded with hateful comments, eventually leading to my account being banned. Any attempts to explain were drowned out by the flood of vitriol. In the days that followed, I noticed the hostile stares of the medical staff. Professionalism kept them from outright throwing me out, but the contempt in their eyes was unmistakable. Every day, I received threatening deliveries from unknown senders, packages filled with malicious messages and intimidation. I didn't respond or defend myself. When the doctor finally said I could be discharged, I sent Daniel a brief message. Let's finalize the divorce tomorrow at the civil registry. It didn't take long for him to call back, his voice dripping with mockery. So, you finally ran out of tricks and showed your face? I warned you. I gave you a chance to take down the online backlash. But you refused. Don't blame me for being ruthless now. If it weren't for Ava pleading for you, I'd have had you arrested already. Fine. Let's divorce. But don't come crying to me when your child ends up fatherless. If he grows up a bastard, that's on you. Before I could respond, he hung up. I quietly opened my home surveillance app, located the footage of Ava setting the fire, and saved it to my device. The next morning, after being discharged, I took my documents and headed straight to the civil registry office. But when the scheduled time came, it wasn't Daniel who appeared. It was Ava. She approached me with a smug smile, her voice dripping with mock concern. I told you, you'll never win against me. Your husband, he's nothing more than my obedient little lapdog. Oh, and look at you now, she said, glancing at my abdomen with mock surprise. The bastard child is gone? What a shame. First, his own father killed him in your last life. Now, this time, his father caused his death again. And with a mother like you, poor thing didn't stand a chance. Her words hit me like a thunderclap. She knew about my past life. She had been reborn too. Before I could process the revelation, my hand moved on its own, slapping her across the face. The blow wasn't strong. My body was still weak from the miscarriage, but it was enough to send her sprawling to the ground. Ava! Daniel's voice rang out behind me. He rushed forward and shoved me aside with such force that I nearly fell. I tumbled down the steps, only stopping when my face was bloodied from the fall. Daniel immediately rushed to Ava, cradling her in his arms. Then, as if a thought had just struck him, he abruptly turned his gaze to my stomach. His eyes landed on my now flat abdomen, and his face turned ashen. The baby. Where's the baby? He stammered. I struggled to my feet, every movement stiff and awkward from my injuries, using my bag to shield my abdomen. I met his gaze with a look filled with mocking disdain. The baby? Do you really think a bastard orphan would ever get the concern of the heroic team captain? Praised by the entire internet? What a touching display of kindness. But don't bother. There's no need for your concern anymore. The baby's gone. It happened on the day of the fire. Oh, and congratulations. By the way, true love triumphs in the end. Just don't get too comfortable. You might not have long to enjoy your happy days together. Make the most of them. Next time you'll only be able to visit your wife in prison. Daniel's brow furrowed, his features contorting in rage. Emily, must you always speak in such a sharp, venomous way? I'm the captain of the rescue team. Saving lives is my duty. I didn't hold you accountable for setting that fire. And I saved Ava for you. And now you turn around and blame me? What right do you have to talk to me like this? You have no right. Now tell me the truth. What's going on with the baby? Did you wear something to hide your pregnancy? Let me remind you, I'm the child's biological father. That's a fact you can't change. Even if you tried to give birth in secret, I'd fight for custody. I couldn't believe my ears. After all these years of marriage, this was what he thought of me. The whole relationship felt like a joke. As he finished, he helped Ava to her feet and began to walk toward me, as if to check my abdomen himself. But Ava let out a pitiful sob, immediately diverting his attention back to her. Are you okay? Where are you hurt? Should I take you to the hospital for a checkup? You're still recovering, and we can't take this lightly, he said with concern. I'm fine, Ava murmured softly. Don't be angry with my sister. It's my fault. I shouldn't have gone to her house that day and upset her. If I'd known she didn't like me, I would have stayed away. It's all my fault. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she spoke, and Daniel's eyes reddened with pain for her. Their blatant display of intimacy made my stomach churn. Unable to hold back, I finally said, "Are you two done? So, go inside and get the paperwork done. I'll step aside to make things official for you, so your relationship won't be seen as illegitimate anymore." My words hit a nerve. Daniel's face twisted in anger. "Emily, is your heart made of stone? Can't you see how injured Ava is because of you? I'm ordering you right now. Apologize to her." I laughed coldly, glancing at Ava's triumphant expression behind him. "Are you blind? Daniel, you pushed me down the stairs. Where's my apology? And how dare you call yourself the baby's father? Was it your blatant neglect at the fire scene that made you a father? Or was it the way you spent all 5 months of my pregnancy entangled with another woman?" His rage boiled over, his voice rising sharply. You set that fire yourself, pregnant and all, trying to kill Ava. I thought this week apart would calm you down. But clearly, it hasn't. You're nothing but a selfish, cruel woman unfit to be a mother. When the baby is born, I will take full custody. If you behave yourself and treat Ava with respect, I might let you see him occasionally. Otherwise, don't even think about it. His shouting drew the attention of passers-by. Some stopped to watch, and I could see recognition in their faces. People were whispering, realizing he was the exemplary team captain making headlines recently. Ava, not missing the opportunity, pointed directly at me and said loudly, "Sister, I know you hate me, but you should at least think about the child you're carrying." Ava said, her voice soft and pleading, "You tried to burn me alive while pregnant, but I'm willing to forgive you. Just please, don't be angry anymore. Okay." As soon as her words fell, a barrage of insults came from the crowd around us. "Isn't this that evil woman from the internet? The one who plays the victim while being a monster? Being cursed out for a week wasn't enough for her. Huh. People like her treat lives like a joke. That poor kid. Imagine being stuck with a mother like her, not even born yet, and already carrying the burden of a murder. Why hasn't a car just run her over already?" Daniel didn't even attempt to defend me. He remained aloof, towering above me like he was untouchable. I looked at him coldly and spoke, my voice sharp. "You want me to apologize to Ava? Sure. But only if she kneels at my child's grave and apologizes first." Daniel's face twisted in frustration. "Unreasonable. Hopeless. I must have been blind to marry you. Let's just get the divorce over with." Hearing this, Ava's eyes sparkled with triumph. I didn't respond. Instead, I lowered my head and dusted off my clothes, letting out a soft chuckle. "Go ahead and laugh. Ava, the harder you laugh now, the harder you'll cry when you're in prison." When it was time to finalize the divorce paperwork, even the staff at the civil registry recognized us. They looked at Daniel with sympathy, as if divorcing me was his ultimate liberation. It felt like I was the villain holding him back from happiness. Cameras flashed wildly, capturing me from every angle as people rushed to post the photos online. The insults rained down like a flood, leaving my reputation in shreds. Walking out of the registry office, Daniel didn't spare me a single glance. He wrapped his arm protectively around Ava, and the two of them walked straight to the car. They didn't even bother asking about the child. Fine by me. It saved me the trouble of explaining. With my home burned to the ground, I rented a small apartment nearby. After signing the lease, I went straight to the police station. On the way, Ava sent me a gloating message. I opened the photo attached and saw Daniel at a real estate office, helping Ava choose a new home. "Last time, you couldn't beat me. This time, you're still the loser. Just accept it. Your bastard child was never meant to survive." I saved her message along with all the previous ones and submitted them to the police along with the surveillance footage showing Ava setting the fire. First, the officers were cold, recognizing me as the so-called arsonist from the internet rumors. But after watching the video, their expressions softened with sympathy. "You had this evidence all along. Why didn't you come forward sooner?" one officer asked. I shook my head. The timing wasn't right. If I'd released this earlier, I wouldn't have been able to divorce Daniel, only by letting him rise as high as he could, then watching him crash. Can I truly get my revenge? The officer nodded silently and told me to wait for the investigation results. They promised to handle it quickly. After years as a stay-at-home wife with no income, my top priority post-divorce was finding a job. Without work, I wouldn't even have the money to take Ava to court. I downloaded a job search app and sent my resume to local companies. However, the impact of the online backlash exceeded my expectations. Not a single company was willing to grant me an interview. Their rejections were vague and dismissive, claiming I lacked work experience. But I could see from the app that most of them hadn't even opened my emails. They likely dismissed my applications outright after seeing my name. Refusing to give up, I called HR departments directly. First, some were willing to speak with me, but as the days passed, even my phone number was blacklisted in the industry. I wasn't surprised. Given the current storm of public opinion, any company hiring me would instantly face backlash. I looked at my diploma from a top-tier university, bitterness welling up inside me. I never imagined that one day I would find myself unable to secure a job. And all of this, every setback, stemmed from trusting the wrong person in my youth. Giving up on office jobs, I turned my attention to entry-level service positions. Wandering through a large shopping mall, I applied to every store that had a now hiring sign. Eventually, a jewelry store decided to take me in. During this time, the photos taken at the civil registry office had gone viral online. Everyone now knew me as the arsonist abandoned by her husband, and the public celebrated my downfall with applause. Meanwhile, candid photos of Daniel and Ava on a date began circulating, accompanied by comments filled with blessings for the happy couple. Some users claimed to have spoken to Daniel, who reportedly said that their big day was coming soon. Shortly after, the city's largest hotel posted an official announcement confirming that Daniel's wedding banquet had been booked at their venue. Scrolling through the endless waves of congratulations online, I couldn't help but smile. This was the same Daniel who had once told me Ava was just like a sister to him, and that their relationship was pure. Yet now, barely divorced, he couldn't wait to host a grand wedding. Whatever love I had once felt for him had long since turned to hatred. The news of their wedding no longer stung me. It only gave me an idea. I thought to myself, wouldn't it be quite the spectacle if the bride and groom were both arrested by the police on their wedding day? The next day, while working at the jewelry store, Daniel and Ava walked in. Ava's expression betrayed no surprise. She had clearly chosen this store intentionally after finding out I worked there. "Look, darling, doesn't this look beautiful on me?" Ava asked sweetly, trying on a necklace. "You'd look good in anything, my love," Daniel replied, his tone indulgent. "Do you like it? If you like it, I'll buy it. What's the point of making money if not to spend it on you?" I wore a mask to cover the scars on my face, but Daniel recognized me immediately. I tried to turn and leave, but Ava called out, "Excuse me, miss, could you help me with this ring?" Glancing around, I saw that my colleagues were all busy with other customers. I was the only one free. Cursing under my breath, I turned back, retrieved the ring from the display, and placed it on the counter in front of her. Daniel's gaze landed on my flat abdomen, and his brows furrowed deeply. "Emily," he said sharply, "are you still wearing a waist binder? Don't you know how harmful that is to the baby?" I didn't even look at him as I placed the ring on the table. "Sir, I don't know you. If you keep harassing me, I'll call the police." His hand shot out, grabbing my wrist. He tried to lift my shirt to check, but I twisted away from his grasp. He snapped, his voice rising. "Do you even know what you're doing? You're 5 months pregnant. Who told you it was okay to work in this condition?" "You're crazy," I retorted coldly. "Who told you I was pregnant? Are you buying or not? If not, get out." Ignoring my words, Daniel grabbed my collar in front of everyone and shouted, "Emily, even if we're divorced, I'm still the father of the child you're carrying. I have the right to be involved." The commotion drew the attention of the entire store. All eyes were on us. But Daniel didn't care. He yanked up my shirt, revealing my abdomen. It was flat, no waist binder, no sign of pregnancy. His face turned a shade of deep red, anger and disbelief battling for dominance. "Where's the baby?" he roared, his voice trembling with rage. "I'm asking you one last time. Where is the baby?" Even Ava's attempts to calm him went unheard. He was completely out of control. I pried his hand off my arm and said coolly, I told you already. The baby is gone. It died in the fire that day. While you were rushing Ava to the hospital. Your child was dying. For a moment, Daniel froze as if struck by lightning. His face went pale, and his body stiffened. He stood there, rooted to the spot, his expression shifting between shock and disbelief. Finally, he muttered, That's impossible. How could the baby be dead? You were perfectly fine that day. You started the fire yourself. How could you possibly have burned your own child? Daniel's voice cracked with disbelief. You're joking with me, right? Tell me you're joking. Say something. Ava, hiding the smug satisfaction in her eyes, gently clung to his arm and turned to me with a concerned expression. Sister, I don't mean to criticize, but the baby wasn't just yours. How could you secretly get rid of it? That's so cruel. I already said I don't blame you for the fire. Why couldn't you let the baby live? Even if you were angry, you shouldn't have taken it out on an innocent life. That baby was a living, breathing soul, not a tool for your tantrums. Her words reignited Daniel's fury. The next moment, his hand shot out, gripping my neck. My breath hitched as he squeezed tighter, my face turning red from the lack of air. Still, his focus remained solely on his accusations. You got rid of the baby behind my back. I clawed at his hands, struggling with all my might, but I couldn't break free. It wasn't until my coworkers noticed the commotion and rushed over to pull him off me that I was able to collapse, clutching my throat and coughing violently. Amid the searing pain, all I could feel was a twisted sense of satisfaction. You think I got rid of the baby? I rasped through my labored breaths. Remember this, Daniel. You were the one who killed your own child at the fire. Believe in Ava if you want. Go ahead. But the baby is watching from above, watching the father who abandoned him marry another woman. Daniel froze, stunned into silence by my words. His grip on reality seemed to falter as he processed what I had said. Ava, ever the actress, stepped forward with a look of feigned concern. She muttered soft, comforting words toward me, but every sentence was calculated to cement my guilt further in everyone's eyes. Leaning in close, she whispered in a voice only I could hear. Everything you've lost today. You deserved it. That bastard never should have been born. Fury bubbled up in me. Without thinking, I slapped her hard across the face, my nails leaving a trail of scratches that began to bleed. Ava immediately adopted an expression of deep hurt, tears welling up in her eyes as she looked at Daniel for sympathy. Daniel snapped out of his daze, his face twisted with rage. He stormed toward me, grabbing a handful of my hair and slamming my head against the glass countertop. You lunatic, he roared. How dare you kill my child? What right did you have? I'll make you pay for this. You'll pay with your life. The glass cracked under the impact, shards embedding themselves into my forehead. Blood trickled down my face, but I barely felt the pain. My mind was detached, eerily calm. Humans are strange creatures. In my last life, Daniel killed our child for Ava. Now, he's trying to kill me for revenge over that same child. It seems that what you can't have always becomes the most cherished. The store employees finally called security, ending the chaos. With Ava's persuasion, Daniel reluctantly calmed down. Though his hateful glare never left me, they left together. But the damage was done. I lost my job. The manager blamed me for poor customer service and for causing a public scene that harmed the store's reputation. Too tired to argue, I simply left and hailed a cab to the hospital. On the way, I contacted the police and confirmed the timing of the arrests. Daniel and Ava's wedding day. While the doctor cleaned my wounds, he glanced at my medical history and sighed deeply. You're so young. You need to take better care of yourself. This rate, your body won't hold up for long. I offered a bitter smile. Once the people who deserve punishment are behind bars, I'll take care of myself. As I paid the medical fees, a series of messages flooded my phone. They were from Daniel, using Ava's number. He demanded to know why I got rid of the baby, and repeatedly accused me of acting on my own without his consent. I didn't bother to respond. He still believed that I had secretly aborted the baby, while the woman he loved remained an innocent victim in his eyes. I didn't reply to his messages. Instead, I left the hospital, took a cab back to the mall, and requested the security footage of Daniel attacking me in the store. I submitted it along with the fire evidence to the police. For the next 3 days, I stayed in my rented apartment, nursing my wounds and keeping tabs on the online updates. Daniel and Ava's every move was documented, whether shopping for jewelry or trying on wedding attire. Their love story was trending everywhere. Daniel hadn't sent me another message since that day, nor had he asked about me. In his mind, I was nothing more than a cruel murderer who had taken his child, far removed from anything resembling love. Ava, however, continued to post updates daily, each one showcasing their blissful moments together. The day of their wedding arrived. The entire rescue team was present, lined up in 2 neat rows outside the hotel entrance. Unsurprisingly, I hadn't been invited. When I appeared, they immediately stopped me at the door, their expressions dripping with disdain. "You don't seem to be on the guest list today, Miss Emily," one of them said, mockingly correcting himself. "Actually, I mean Ms. Yates. You shouldn't cause trouble. If the boss finds out we let you, the so-called arsonist, in, we can kiss our bonuses goodbye." I kept my composure and replied calmly, "I'm only here to watch. I won't say a word." They refused to let me through. As more guests arrived, including relatives who had attended my wedding to Daniel, their glares turned colder. Some muttered to the hotel security to have me thrown out. A drink bottle was hurled at me, splashing sticky liquid onto my clothes. Someone spat in my direction, shouting, "You're heartless." Another sneered, "You're a venomous snake." The ceremony was about to begin, and no one had time to deal with me anymore. Taking advantage of the distraction, I followed closely behind a janitor, sneaking into the venue after changing into a cleaner's uniform. When the ceremony reached its final stage, where the bride and groom exchanged rings, I lowered my head and typed a message on my phone. "You can make the arrests now." The very next second, the grand doors of the banquet hall burst open. Police officers flooded in, surrounding the bride and groom. Daniel's face twisted in confusion and anger, while a flicker of panic crossed Ava's eyes before she forced herself to stay composed. As the guests exchanged bewildered glances, I walked up to the stage at a measured pace and spoke into the microphone. "Apologies for interrupting. Ms. Ava Parker is under investigation for arson and attempted murder. I've submitted all relevant evidence to the authorities. As for Mr. Daniel Carter, he is being charged with negligence at the fire scene, refusing to perform his duty, and assault. I've also filed a lawsuit against him. I'm afraid today's wedding won't proceed as planned. If Mr. Carter still intends to hold a wedding in the future, I suggest everyone visit him in prison." Daniel exploded in rage, shouting insults at me and attempting to charge forward. But the police restrained him. Ava, visibly shaken, tried to spin the narrative, throwing baseless accusations at me to deflect blame. But no one listened. At the station, Daniel was shown the footage of Ava setting the fire. His face turned grim, and he fell silent for a long time before finally speaking. "So in the past life, was it also you who started the fire?" It was then I realized Daniel had also been reborn. That explained his desperate efforts to broadcast his love for Ava this time around. He was trying to make up for the regrets of his previous life. Ava, running out of excuses, could only apologize to him tearfully, begging for his forgiveness. But Daniel's eyes were filled with disappointment, and he refused to look at her again. Instead, he turned to me, his tone softening as he began to apologize and plead for my forgiveness. I knew men like him all too well. He wasn't sorry for what he had done. He was only trying to gain my forgiveness to lessen his punishment. He didn't want to go to prison. I didn't forgive him. Instead, I firmly reminded the police of the importance of a thorough investigation and prosecution. After the officers led him away, I remained in the interrogation room, now alone with Daniel. The guilt of 2 lifetimes seemed to weigh on him, crushing the last of his rationality. He trembled violently, his entire body shaking as he knelt before me. "I'm sorry. I'm the one who killed our child. It's my fault. Every insult I threw at you, I take them all back. I know I have no right to ask for your forgiveness, but can I ask for one thing?" His voice cracked as he continued. "After all these years of knowing you, this is the only time I'll beg you. Please leave a space next to the baby's grave for me. I want to be buried beside our child. I looked at him, a faint sense of foreboding rising in my chest, but I didn't respond. Instead, I finished giving my statement and left the station. The police soon released the results of their investigation, and public opinion shifted instantly. Online accusations against me vanished as the truth came to light. However, it made little difference to Daniel and Ava. They were already in jail, unable to hear any of the backlash. Several members of the rescue team, who had ignored my injuries on the day of the fire based on Daniel's orders, were suspended from duty. On the same day that the official report was released, both Ava and Daniel were formally sentenced to prison. My phone was flooded with apology messages from various team members. I ignored all of them. Instead, I resumed submitting job applications. This time, the process went much smoother. Within 2 days, I landed a position at a company. The company's CEO was a middle-aged woman, a single mother herself. She had read about my story online and sympathized with my situation. She gave me opportunities to improve and encouraged me to grow. I threw myself into my work, ignoring everything happening outside my bubble. It wasn't until a week later that I stumbled upon news from 3 days prior. Daniel had committed suicide in prison. Ava, having been exposed for framing a pregnant woman, was ostracized by the other female inmates. Within a week, she had been hospitalized 3 times. According to someone claiming to be a medical staff member in the comments section, Ava was still in the ICU, teetering between life and death. I let out a quiet laugh and gave the news a like. Justice may come late, but it never fails to arrive.